What's up, A to Z Sports on a Thursday, which means Titans Thursday, and that's what we're doing to lead off today's show, talking Titans. We've got some video to show you guys of a former Titans captain discussing how he would feel about the Vic Beasley situation if he was in this Titans locker room today. So we'll get to that. I think it's a really good insight from what it would be like for a teammate of Vic Beasley on his no showing for day 9 of Vic Beasley watch. So we'll discuss that. We'll dive into what today means for Vic Beasley watch. It is NFL opt-out deadline day at 3 p.m. Central Time. Later on this afternoon, Vic Beasley will have his deadline hit to where if he wants to opt in or out of the NFL season for coronavirus, and then how the financials impact that situation. So we'll discuss this on the show. Then we've got an underrated and overrated Titans players on the roster, and of course the ever dangerous Magic Bucket presented by BioPure Music City to end the show, and also a way that the fans are going to get screwed by the coronavirus this season, and that has nothing to do with not being able to go to games or going to games or whatever. It's a different way, and the Preds showed us an example of that yesterday. So, Zach, welcome in. We're going to have a good show.
You needed to add another way.
Another way. I can add that later in the show. Another way.
Another way.
One.
Because we are constantly getting screwed by the coronavirus. That is just – it's a lifestyle in 2020 that we live, unfortunately, by. But hopefully that changes. Before we start, I do want to recognize how pathetic the Preds played yesterday. So inconsistent. And I want to make sure, because we talked about this yesterday, that was not due to Saros's play.
It was not. It showed up that the goalie play was irrelevant in the result of that game for the most part.
Right. And so that's on the Preds. Now their back's against the wall. They have to win. It is win or go back home. And they don't want to do that. So, look, they're not out, but they got to play a hell of a lot better than they played yesterday at 1:30. Before we get started, though, and talking about handling Vic Beasley and some other good Titans topics on this Titan Thursday, we do want you guys to share the show, share the broadcast. Bottom right corner of your screen, if you're watching on Periscope/Twitter, you'll see those 3 little dots. You can share the broadcast that way. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers timeline. That would help us out a great deal. Also, Facebook. What's going on, Facebookers? More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. And as you do, please share the show. Sharing is caring. Share now to public. It's that simple. We got to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. And we are ready to go on a Titans Thursday, Austin. I got my sticker ready.
Good.
For this Magic Bucket. It's an ode to Buck Rising as he's churning right along. He's beating this coronavirus 1 hour, 1 day at a time. We wish him well, and hopefully he's sweating out that virus.
Well, I have not talked to Buck today, so I do not know how. What is this day 5? Today would be day 5 of coronavirus. I don't know how it's going for Buck, but let's get this thing going. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by TennesseeTickets.com. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports, and you like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We're Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and for you guys. RentersWarehouse.com. That is where you need to go to find out how much your home can rent for. RentersWarehouse.com. To find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness. Got a workout in yesterday. It's a 15-minute workout. Full body electronic muscle stimulation. Your first workout's free at mandu.com. The Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency, giving you relief by saving you an average of 20% on your personal insurance. TuckerTN.com. Calvin and Subtle for your new hardwood floor and finishings. CalvinandSubtle.com is where to go for their services. And the Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. boneandjointtn.org for them. Zach, Vic Beasley watch is on day 9. Buck Rising COVID-19 watch is on day 5. And Buck unable to do the primetime show last night for the second day in a row. Hopefully Buck feels better. But I think as this goes on and on and on with this Vic Beasley stuff, you got to feel worse and worse about the status of Vic Beasley who was the Titans' biggest free agent addition of the offseason.
Well, what you don't know, that's the biggest thing. And we're about to hear from Mike Vrabel himself, the head coach that did a Zoom press conference yesterday talking about Vic Beasley. And for all the fine folks that are not on this Zoom, I mean, and you can go back and watch because they live stream it, but he did this right out of the gate. Like, this is
opening statement.
Opening statement, topic number one. Like, that tells you something. Now, granted, they probably wanted to just, and this is a PR move, talk about it before you get questions about it. But let's take a listen to Mike Vrabel addressing the Vic Beasley situation. Where is Mr. Beasley?
Vic Beasley, I just want to address, where we are with that, and me personally. We're excited to see Vic when he gets here. Again, he's not here. Everybody else is, and he's under contract. We expect him to be here, but again, have reached out, have not had much conversation with him, and we still look forward to getting him in here and coaching him when he gets here. I want to coach him and want him to be a part of the football team. So. That's where I'm at. I know that there's going to be obviously questions. I'm hopeful that we can focus, and I can focus on our football team and the guys that are here that are improving, that are trying to improve, and the ones that we're coaching. So with that, I know, Teresa, you're probably up first.
And Teresa was up first, and Teresa Walker, the Associated Press, asked a quick follow-up question about Vic Beasley, which Mike Vrabel really didn't answer because he said, I just addressed it in my opening statement about Vic Beasley. So that is the update from the Titans side of things about Vic Beasley. Before we get to the Bone Crusher, Crush Boy 31, Bernard Pollard, on his thoughts about Vic Beasley, if he was in this locker room, Zach, how do you feel about the way Mike Vrabel addressed the Vic Beasley situation yesterday?
There was one statement within all of that really stood out to me, and that was Mike Vrabel saying, he's not here, everyone else is.
Yeah.
Like that he could have that could have been the only thing that he said, right? If he didn't have an opening statement, Teresa gets the first question, what's the deal with Vic Beasley? He's not here, everyone else is. Next question. Do you expect Vic Beasley to be? Well, he's not here now. Everyone else is. So that was the shining light for me to say Mike Vrabel is a little pissed off about this diva, and that's what he is. Vic Beasley, not team first. That's the one thing that would piss me off the most. John Robinson, it probably pisses John Robinson off too. They can't get a hold of the guy. And the one way that they wanted to structure this team, however many years ago, to get it out of the ruts of Tommy Smith is team first mentality, physical, smart. And they've done all of that. They've done a very, very good job of that. And you know what? It has yielded some really good results. AFC Championship appearance, beating Baltimore, the best team in the AFC with the MVP, beating Tom Brady in his final game as the Patriots, having a great run with Tannehill towards the end of the season, Derrick Henry with the leading rusher of the NFL. And they go out and get a guy who is literally the polar opposite of how they've built the team. That would piss me off.
Yeah, and so I tweeted about this yesterday, and because Donald says Atlanta tried to tell us Beasley ain't about that action, boss. So I tweeted about this yesterday about how this is getting ridiculous and out of hand. How is this happening still? And Carlos Medina, our buddy from Atlanta Sports Radio, said something like, I'm not surprised at all. Like, just responding to me of like, been there, done that with this guy, Vic Beasley. So it's funny because I see people saying, like it's Cody saying, honestly, don't care one bit or whatever hate is spewing from Bernard Pollard's mouth. And then Derek saying Bernard Pollard is a clown, don't care what he has to say. And Titans fans might feel that way. because Bernard Pollard has been very outspoken about how bad the Titans culture was when he was there, and Titans fans typically don't want to hear how negative that is. And so Bernard Pollard might have a negative connotation to what he's saying about a lot of things with the Titans. But he was on the Tighten Up podcast, and the episode came out yesterday with Austin Huff and Jack Gentry of our A to Z Sports Podcast Network. I suggest Titans fans listen to that entire thing. You take it with a grain of salt because Bernard Pollard was here during the Zach aforementioned Tommy Smith days, and he was not here during the Amy Adams Strunk days. And he gave Amy Adams Strunk a lot of credit for how she's helped change the culture over the last several years. But he was also asked, as a former team captain of the Tennessee Titans, how would you feel if you were in that locker room? How would you handle the Vic Beasley situation? Here's Bernard Pollard's answer.
I mean, for me, we got to understand that that's his business. You don't ever speak against another man's business. But then at the same time, this kind of goes back to some of the signings and the decisions that they've made as ownership. Mm-hmm. We have to know who we're going after. You got to do due diligence, right? We got to know who we're going after. I didn't think he was a guy they should have went after. And he's showing he's a guy they shouldn't have went after. I feel, I feel bad for the organization because I believe he was a piece that they're counting on to come in and to help bolster that pass rush, that run defense, and try to he's a piece that they were looking to come in and replace. But right now, we got to understand, this is starting out on a bad leg, right? The relationship are starting out on a bad leg. They paid him. They ain't heard from him. The check was cut. Buddy ain't nowhere to be found. So it's just looking like, as a teammate, you looking like, I know for me, can I trust you? I can't trust you to be here. They gave you the money. I can't trust you to be here. So now can I trust you going to know and understand what you're doing? Can I trust you working out, doing what you're supposed to be doing? So that way when you come here, you're not just going to be on IR or injured reserve or be, in a tent just on a bike, trying to prove a point. We don't know what's going on, but that's what's going on in my head as a player, as a leader, when you see guys like that pulling mess like this.
Bernard Pollard right there on the Tighten Up podcast. Episode came out yesterday. Good interview there in its entirety with Austin Huff and Jack Gentry. The check has been cut, and Buddy ain't nowhere to be found. That's from Bernard Pollard, former Titans captain. Zach, I want to get your reaction on what Bernard Pollard had to say there. But first, let me tell you guys about Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout simulates 5 hours in the weight room, full body electronic muscle stimulation. Had my workout yesterday, building muscle, burning body fat, burning that visceral fat. The results are real because the science is real, and it makes you feel good. Mandu.com, your first workout is absolutely free.
It's kind of funny to hear all of the Titans fans in the comment section and how they feel about Bernard Pollard. Definitely a love-hate relationship. Some people are like, B-Rat's like, he has some good points. And Tribe says, we actually care about Pollard. But I do want to get to a comment that Roy brings up. And he says, just treat this as if it is a contract holdout. He's 2 weeks late, and y'all are acting like this. Well, Roy, the problem is you can't treat this like a contract holdout. He just signed the damn contract. Like, you hold out for a new contract. You don't sign a brand new contract and then hold out. That's not how this works. And the problem is the lack of communication. Bernard Pollard's exactly right. The trust is dead. The trust is dead. It is. And you're going to have to get, one of those things you rub together? You're going to have to recreate some life back into that relationship, or you're going to have to go get a shovel and bury the damn thing in the ground because and he's not going to show up. We're going to get to your predictions of what's going to happen with Vic Beasley, but that's the biggest thing that he said. He said, look, the relationship, you talk about starting out on a shaky leg. Yeah. Talk about the stanky leg. That thing is gone. And I don't think, and this is my personal opinion, on a 1-year contract, I don't think he's going to be able to earn the trust back from all of his teammates. It's just the odds are against you, and you're not going to be able to do it.
Especially because the lounging time is going to be very limited with the locker room and the team this entire season. Because they're going to treat the locker room like a true dressing room of you get in, you get out, you change your clothes, you move on. I doubt there's going to be a basketball goal in the middle of the locker room where they're shooting hoops and horse playing like they normally do because they're trying to separate. So that is where relationships are built, is in that locker room, and with a new guy who hasn't shown up, who already is putting a bitter taste in teammates' mouths. And if I was in this locker room, I would feel the same way that Bernard Pollard feels. It's why can't you just tell us what's going on? And if you're up front with people, then typically you get some grace. And if it was a family funeral that has been reported, and we've mentioned that every time we've talked about this because we want to make sure we do recognize that, then just communicate and tell people. But now it seems like it's more than that. It seemed because of the lack of communication, like Vic Beasley has a phone. Vic Beasley was liking tweets on Twitter on day one of not showing up when he was supposed to report on July 28th. He's around, like he's got to be seeing this stuff. So the fact that the lack of communication has continued on the day 9, day 10, and now he's being fined $500,000, this is just getting ridiculous. And it is opt-out deadline day for the entire NFL when it comes to coronavirus.
All right, so we've got some breaking Vic Beasley news that I just found doing a little crack research. True detective. Vic Beasley likes to sub-tweet and sub-like tweets that he feels that is trying to get a message across, I guess.
I am intrigued by what you found.
Vic Beasley 10 hours ago likes a tweet that says, situations be small, but the principle be heavy. That's the part they don't get. Cryptic messages from Vic Beasley. That was 10 hours ago on his Twitter handle, and he likes situations be small, but the principle be heavy.
Like,
that's the part they don't get.
I want to dive deeper into the Vic Beasley like tweets because there's more and there's worse than that. I want to get to. But before we dive into more Vic Beasley like tweets, Zach, tell people about Calvin and Subtle real quick.
Yeah, Calvin and Subtle, it is where you need to get your hardwood floors. They are reliable. They will show up. I guarantee that they will show up. 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414. You need new hardwood floors. They come in, you call them, they schedule a meeting, use the CDC precautions in your home. Take a look at what do you want to get replaced? Is it your den? Is it your living room, your kitchen, your bathroom, your bedroom? Rip up that carpet and put in brand new, pristine hardwood floors that are cost effective. You can trust Calvin and Subtle. We trust them. Tell them A to Z Sports sent you. You can get the materials ordered and installed within 1 to 2 weeks. It's unreal how quick it is. Reliability. That's what Calvin and Subtle is about. 615-448-6414.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on a Thursday. I almost forgot what day it was. It's the Magic Bucket Day, which is going to be funny later on. But we played the Bernard Pollard thoughts, former Titans captain, saying that he wouldn't trust Vic Beasley because of how he's acted. He's not been around. Then we found the Vic Beasley-like tweets. Zach just said the one from Big Speaker on Twitter. Situations be small, but the principle be heavy. That's the part they don't get. He also liked this on day 4 of not talking to the Titans and not showing up. He liked this tweet from TD Jakes. Quote, "You cannot cure what you will not confront." Which Vic Beasley is not curing because he's not confronting. He's not talking to the Titans, and he's just not communicating whatsoever and being non-confrontational, but he's saying like you can't cure something that you won't confront. Well, Vic Beasley liked that tweet. How about you pick up your phone and just do something as little as text Mike Vrabel and John Robinson and confront the situation that's happening right now?
All right, so look, we've got visuals. I'm basically doing a production job here on the back end while doing the show. Pretty impressive.
Yes.
But Twitter's a free site. It is a public forum. So here are the like tweets by Vic Beasley in the last pretty recent past.
since he's been not talking to the Titans. It's
you
really
can take a look at him.
Yes, it's yes. Can someone make a track and field game, please? Like, what the hell does that even have to do anything? But I mean, you cannot cure what you will not confront. Like, Vic Beasley is not confronting the problem that he's created.
Well, it's a double cryptic tweet on that big speaker. Big speaker is cryptic because isn't big speaker saying, hey, I'm trying to get a message across? And then if you read it, situations be small, but the principle be heavy. Dats depart, they don't get. Something's going on, Austin. Something's going on, Vic. So, all right, we know.
Rudy jokes that Vic Beasley is probably watching as we speak. That would be hilarious.
Well, and you know what? That would be a very Vic Beasley thing to do. Not say anything, but just watch, right? And we'd love for him to comment on the show. Pal, please. You have freedom of speech. Tweet, comment in the comment section. We can read all the comments. We got a great show going on right now. And we got live Twitter action. But the real question, and this is what we're going to get to, look, I feel like I need a cigarette. I feel like Matthew McConaughey in True Detective Season 1. Give me a cigarette and a Lone Star.
A to Z Conspiracies Nashville. Yeah,
it's cracking cases.
We're going to open up our conspiracies division soon. And this is so crazy. And Roy is stuck on the contract saying that he wants an extension. He signed a $9.5 million fully guaranteed deal. That's ridiculous for Vic Beasley to want that. Vic Beasley maybe doesn't love football, maybe doesn't want to be here, or maybe he's contemplating opting out, which is the deadline. So we heard from Bernard Pollard. Bernard Pollard says, I wouldn't trust him. Well, now what?
All right, love of the show. Buckethead comes in here just with a flamethrower. And this is the best comment, maybe to date, at least on the Vic Beasley situation. My man Buckethead says, maybe he's like Earl Thomas and his brother. He likes to watch others are doing the work. Buckethead. That is pure gold. That may be pure gold because Earl Thomas can't run away from what him and his brother did, and Vic Beasley can't run away from his contract. So that it all meshes together. Man, that was good. Thank you for that. We all needed that on this Titan Thursday.
Yes, I agree with you. Man, I wish Buckethead actually said that.
Don't know what happened with Earl Thomas. Just Google Earl Thomas and his brother.
Yeah, don't ask me. Just Google the damn thing, like I said a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just Google Earl Thomas and his brother. I'm sure Google is going to lead you the right way.
Yes, just make sure you're. It may not be suited for work. I'm not really sure. If you're working from home, I think you're okay. A to Z Sports. Let's do this. Because today is the opt-out deadline day. It's at 3 p.m. Central Time. Vic Beasley has until then. Every NFL player has until then. It's already surpassed 60 players who have opted out for the season. Let's do a quick prediction poll live on the show. Will Vic Beasley, is he out or is he playing?
Not if you want him, but no, what do you think he will do?
Prediction, because we've already talked about what we want him to do, what we would like him to do on Monday or Tuesday. This week's been crazy, but so prediction time: is he going to opt out, or is he going to play? What's the prediction?
So comment in the comment section on Periscope and on Facebook. We got a good crowd. We just saw that Vic Beasley's liking cryptic tweets, not talking to Mike Vrabel. We heard Mike Vrabel speak. He said, he goes, everyone else is here, but he's not. I mean, it's pretty simple. So comment, what do you think Vic Beasley will do? Because there's a deadline, right? The clock's ticking.
Yes.
3 p.m. Central.
Right.
Got to make a decision. Now, also, before we get into the full predictions, because everybody in or out, Austin, what benefits him from not opting out? Because if he opts out, he gets $150,000, or as we learned, he could take a loan from the NFL.
No, that's yeah. If he opts out, then he starts to pay off a portion of the fines.
Right?
I think if you opt out, the fines get wiped out. I believe that's the case. Don't quote me on it, but that's something that makes sense. Because right at this point, he's being fined $500,000 because I believe this is day 10 of the Vic
That
Beasley.
would logically make sense that the fines would get wiped, because the reason why, and let's just take Vic Beasley out of this, the reason why you would not show up to camp because you were thinking about opting out is because of your fear of the coronavirus. You wouldn't go in and then go out. You wouldn't accept yourself to that.
Sure. So I think this is really important about the decision that Vic Beasley makes for the Tennessee Titans financially too. And I talked about this earlier in the week. If Vic Beasley opts out for coronavirus reasons, then the Titans free up that $9.5 million of cap space. If he just doesn't show up, like if the deadline passes today and Vic Beasley still does not show up, he can no longer opt out for coronavirus reasons. He might just not play. But the problem with that is the Titans will not be able to remove the $6 million signing bonus off of this year's salary cap cost. So the Titans want him to either show up today or opt out for coronavirus reasons. So you're either saving all the money on the cap space, or you're actually getting the player that you signed. The one thing they don't want him to do is just to not play after today's date, because now they can fight back to get that money back, to get the cash back, because he's got $6 million in his pocket from the Titans, but that won't come off the salary cap until next season. So they really need Vic Beasley to make a decision today, one way or the other.
All right, so I'm going to read some comments. The prediction of will Vic Beasley opt in or opt out? Austin, if I was John Robinson, I'd get what's Vrabel's right hand guy? What's his name?
Stretch.
Stretch,
because he's like 6'6".
Right. Well,
Stretch actually got a promotion this offseason.
So if I'm Vrabel, I send Stretch, put him in a Nissan Titan, right? Put him in a big ass truck provided by the team, and I have him drive down to Atlanta, and I have him find Vic Beasley's ass and say, "Look, bud, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna hamstrung this billion-dollar corporation up in Nashville just because you're going silent on your phone, but you're liking encrypted tweets from Big Speaker." So I would make sure that they have an answer by 3:00. And if Stretch or Squeaks or whatever his name is, if he's the guy to do it.
Demon on base says is it Frozone? I mean, it could be your boy Frozone. I mean, I don't know if
welcome to the draft jungle, baby.
Just send Frozone to Vic Beasley's house.
All right, so let's read some comments. Tress says, I hope he's out, but he actually thinks he will report. Christopher says he's opting out. He's not playing. Frank says he's playing. Big Detail says opt out for sure. Jason says out. I think he'll opt out, says Donald. Roy asks, how much money will Beasley get if he opts out? $150,000. That's it.
Well, if he opts out and he has an actual like good reason because of like a family situation,
he doesn't have to have a good reason. He can just opt out because he's scared of the coronavirus.
Don't cut me off. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have to have a good reason. And if he doesn't have, hold on, stop talking. If he doesn't have a good reason, he gets $150K. If he does have a good reason, he gets $300K. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, so T and Titan 7 says opt out. He'll play from Rick. Ronnie says opt out. Cameron says out. Louis says out. Jacob says out. B-Red says he will report, career on the line. Opting out from G-Man. And B-Red says he's not opting out for $150,000. Nick says, I think he doesn't opt, but won't show up either, cut ties and move on. So Nick actually brings up probably the worst case scenario, which is you don't hear from him by 3:00 and he's just the same way he is today, liking cryptic tweets.
So how do you feel about this, Zach?
I honestly, all of his actions tell me he's not going to do a damn thing.
Well, that's what I was going to say is Vic Beasley's not going to opt out today. He doesn't do very well with deadlines. Like, deadlines are irrelevant to Vic Beasley, clearly. We've seen this now for 10 days.
Deadlines make deals.
No, right, but not for Vic Beasley, because there was one deadline, and that was July 28th. That was a mandatory deadline for Vic Beasley and every other NFL player to report to camp. And based on my knowledge, Vic Beasley is the only NFL player who has just not reported and has not told the team why he hasn't reported or when he actually is going to show up. So I don't think Vic Beasley is going to do anything today, like you said. I think the 3 p.m. Central deadline will pass, and we will not hear a peep from Vic Beasley Jr. That's my prediction.
Unless he's getting some sort of counsel saying that his contract, I mean, he has $6 million, right? So he can
In the bank.
He can keep getting fined and miss training camp and then come back on the team. And then if they cut him, then
he keeps the $6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about this. And I saw
it's
Parker
the law,
Larson.
right?
I saw Paul tweet about this, that the Titans don't have any power in this situation, which is rare for a team or an employer to have zero power over an employee who is not showing up. But because Vic Beasley has that $6 million in his pocket and that's counting against the salary cap right now, the Titans just have to kind of accept it for what it is.
Yeah, he's not going to. So I think that he's been counseled to say, don't say anything. Don't answer phones. Don't answer texts. If you think you see a guy that looks like Stretch or Squeaks or whatever to name it, then you run the other way. You don't talk to anybody because, look, simple math. We don't do a lot of math on air here on A to Z Sports, but I do know that $6 million is greater than $150,000. And even if you stack up probably all the month leading up to, and this we can do this quick math, the month leading up to the first game or roster cuts, how much money minus the $6 million would he lose? It's going to be more than $150,000 that he'll gain. It's
right? I want to say
So,
roster cuts is September 5th, which is the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. So we're talking about a whole month.
Let's do this. Look, I got a crack calculator right here.
Yeah.
30 days. Let's say he doesn't show up or do a damn thing for 30 days. He gets fined $50,000 per day. So that is $1.5 million. $1.5 million minus $6 million. That leaves $4.5 million in the bank.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, $4.5 million is greater than $150,000.
Roy,
yeah, he's going to probably get a lawsuit, but you know what? They'll settle because the Titans just want to get back a portion of the $6 million, and I guarantee he will get more than the $150,000. He'll probably at least get $1 million. That's the concept. And yeah, does he screw over the rest of his career? Probably not play football again. But he
at this point, I don't think he cares about that. I don't think he cares about not playing, because clearly, if he did care about playing, he would be at least communicating with the Tennessee Titans about where he's been, why he's not there, and when he's going to show up. And as of yesterday, and we can play the Mike Vrabel video again, as of yesterday, Mike Vrabel had no other update on Vic Beasley.
Vic Beasley, I just want to address, where we are with that, and me personally, we're excited to see Vic when he gets here. Again, he's not here. Everybody else is, and he's under contract. We expect him to be here, but again, have reached out, have not had much conversation with him, and we still look forward to getting him in here and coaching him when he gets here. I want to coach him and want him to be a part of the football team. So, that's where I'm at. I know that there's going to be obviously questions. I'm hopeful that we can focus, and I can focus on our football team and the guys that are here that are improving, that are trying to improve, and the ones that we're coaching. So with that, I know, Teresa, you're probably up first.
So there's Vic Beasley.
Quote of the offseason.
Yeah.
He's not here. Everybody else is. I love it. It's hilarious. That's almost as funny as his his Jadeveon Clowney move, which was really funny, head down.
Yeah, Austin says, hold up, he had a death in the family. We've discussed that several times. And like deaths in the family, like Zach, me, Buck, we've all had deaths in the family within the last
talk about that
within the last 12 months, all of us. And what happens? We communicate with the people that we need to communicate with, just like every other adult, and really teenagers do this, right? Like, it's not like this is like teenagers should be able to communicate what's happening, because everybody understands that a death in the family is a serious situation, and you should get grace to handle that how you need to handle it. But not communicating is just as immature as it could possibly get.
Ricky, tell your boss. That's all you got to do. Tell your boss or tell your partner. Tell your co-host. Do whatever. Look, again, if you've watched, I've had plenty of deaths in my family, unfortunately, in the last year. Every single one of them, I've told Austin beforehand. Even months before, if I felt like it was going to, I would say, hey, look. And Austin, unfortunately, he's had that same thing. Buck, unfortunately, he's had that same thing. And we've all communicated. Why? Because we respect one another.
Right.
Vic Beasley doesn't respect the Tennessee Titans. And that's why, as Titans fans, I'll go ahead and say it, you shouldn't respect him. If I was a Titans fan, a diehard, like we got a lot of people watching this show, I would say, screw off, Vic Beasley. You don't respect my favorite football team. And you know what? The Titans, John Robinson and Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk, who cut the damn check, they shouldn't respect Vic Beasley either. If you don't answer your phone, that's a big problem. That's the writing on the wall. We live in 2020. You can text, you can WhatsApp, you can DM, you can Instagram message, you can find a way, especially if you're liking tweets and you're on your GD phone. Give me a break, Vic. Don't respect that guy. I don't care about his death in a family.
Tress says
9 days ago or whatever.
Yeah, Tress says if he sacks the QB a lot, I'll respect him. Am I going to let him babysit my kids? Hell no.
And see, now, again, and this is just how I think, he has burned too many bridges. And look, these are brand new bridges. He burned way too many for you to give him an opportunity if he can sack the quarterback. No trust.
Look, winning, yes,
anymore.
Winning fixes everything. And in Vic Beasley's case, winning is sacking the quarterback. So sacking the quarterback fixes everything for Vic Beasley. He just has to show up to do that. So here's a question from Good Speed on Periscope. What happens if the Titans cut him? If the Titans cut him, then Vic Beasley keeps his $6 million signing bonus, and he counts $9.5 million against his Titans salary cap, because that was fully guaranteed at signing when he signed as a free agent back in the spring. So
what does that do for Clowney?
For Clowney, it means that it's a lot. You have to go get another pass rusher, whether it's Clowney, Everson Griffin. I know you'll laugh, Clay Matthews, anybody. You have to get another body at pass rusher.
How much cap space would they have if that happens?
Well, because currently Vic Beasley, the current open cap space counts Vic Beasley with it, right? So you could still sign Clowney if Vic Beasley counts $9.5 million against signing cap, the salary cap. People still want that to happen regardless, but it gives you little wiggle room to be able to go out and add to your roster when you need to, when injuries or COVID-19 cases happen.
So this is, again, there's strategy to this, and I think the big football teams like, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Packers, they get a lot more notoriety than the Titans. I get that. But if you're the PR team or media relations for the Titans, you find a way for Good Morning Football to talk about this, or for Pro Football Talk to write about it. You use the media as an asset, and they haven't done that. Let's just say that. I'm not saying a slash campaign against Vic Beasley, but you need people to start asking questions on where is he? Has anybody seen or heard from him? Is he okay? If he is, why isn't he answering? What's like Vic Beasley, if this is his strategy to get the math that we did, the $4.5 million, possibly after 30 days of $50,000 a day in fines, then he needs to be ousted for being a bad human being and try to beat the system with a contract he signed.
All right, so 2 comments and then more comments, and then we'll move on from Vic Beasley because we do have a lot of other topics to get to today. So Stephen Wood says, hard to believe Robinson signed this guy. Well, it actually makes sense because John Robinson and Vic Beasley have the same agent. So there was clearly a sales job done to John Robinson from Vic Beasley and his agent about where he's at in his football career. So Jason Lloyd says, how does this not nullify the contract? Doesn't he have to fulfill his end? Yes, but unfortunately, as Buck has written about on our website, A2ZSportsNashville.com, you can go read that, the Titans can sue or go fight to get that cash back. But what they cannot get back this year is the salary cap space that Vic Beasley is taking up with the $6 million. If Vic Beasley does not play this season, he will not get the other $3.5 million that his contract says, because that's a base salary, which you get during the season, and a roster bonus as well, which he would not be on. But the $6 million is gone from the salary cap this year if he does not show up after the opt-out deadline today.
And they have lawyers to go handle that.
But again, they'll get the cash back.
It's about
Timing.
the cap space that they cannot to go out and replace said player. And you brought up the agent, and Renaud comes with the extreme of John Robinson. He needs to fire his agent. I don't know about firing him, but if I was John Robinson, best believe my agent would have gotten an ass chewing. The good old fashioned coach player ass chewing. I would have. I would not want to be. You wouldn't want to heard that phone call if I was John Robinson.
Sure.
After I just signed a guy that I can't get a hold of.
Yes.
That's going to screw my football team out of cap space, or out of an opportunity. And this is the real goal. We're talking all the ins and out detail. The goal of Vic Beasley's signing was to improve the pass rush to beat Patrick Mahomes.
And Lamar Jackson, who's on the schedule this year.
And Deshaun Watson.
Who's on it twice every year.
And sack Phillip Rivers because the Colts have gotten better.
Yeah, so all right. Tim says, would he not be in breach of contract? Yes. And understand what I'm saying here. That yes, the Titans will get that money back because of breach of contract, because of whatever contractually, but they won't get the salary cap space back this year. So that's the situation with Vic Beasley. They will get the salary cap space back this year if he opts out for coronavirus-related reasons by 3 p.m. Central today, which Vic Beasley has already shown us deadlines mean nothing to him before.
Yeah. So, all right, look, Vic, we'll wait till 3 o'clock. We got some hours. Vic's got some time. He can like some more cryptic tweets by Big Speaker, and we'll see what happens, right? And so This is the best part. We're going to find out. We will know by 3 p.m. So eyes open, the clock. You know what we'll do? Buck, if you're watching right now.
Buck's I don't know if he is right now, but Buck rose out of the bed for at least a little bit to comment a few times.
Right. Well, if he is, and this is what we're going to do, at least after the show, if he's not here, get on Instagram and post on our story and follow us if you're not following us. We're going to start a countdown to Vic. The deadline, 3 p.m. So, Buck, you know how to use Instagram. Go on A to Z Sports and do that if you're watching. If not, I will do that. We'll get somebody else to do that after the show. Countdown to Vic. Follow us on Instagram. We'll follow it live. We'll count it down, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Who is the most underrated Titan on the current roster? That is our next discussion. Who is the most underrated Titan on the current roster? But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, boneandjointtn.org. You see that incredible looking building right there on your screen. The Bone and Joint Institute is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. They have everything under that one roof. Typically, like when I tore my ACL like 10 plus years ago, I had to go to my doctor to get it checked out to say, yeah, this is probably torn. Then I had to go to another building, get an MRI. Then I had to go back to the doctor building to get the results, a different building for the actual surgery, and then a completely different area for the rehab process. So at Bone and Joint, it's all right there. Everything from the beginning to the end of your rebuilding process and rehab process from your injury. They've got you covered. boneandjointtn.org is where to go. boneandjointtn.org.
Got some very exciting news here in the next couple of days, possibly Monday.
Okay.
Possibly Monday. For all of our A to Z sports listeners, it's going to be awesome. Okay. Get ready. We're going to have an announcement coming within the week, probably in the next 5 to 6 days. So stay tuned to all of our social feed. Some very exciting news. Plus, you can get 30% off by using AZ30 on a store until football is played. AZ30, everything in the shop. Shop.azsportsnashville.com.
All right, so the question is, who is the most underrated Titans player on the current roster? And
This is a great question.
Brian pretty simply said there's a lot, and I don't disagree. We're going to follow this conversation up with who's the most overrated Titan, so we'll get to that. But Steph says Daquan Jones. Josh says Jayon Brown, and he corrects his spelling. Josh on YouTube, by the way. You can watch us on YouTube and Twitch. Donald says Ben Jones. Derek with Kenny Vaccaro. Nick with Anthony Ferkser. Tress with Jayon Brown or Rashaan Evans. Louis' obsession with Parker Hesse is something that I will never understand. Here's a fantastic answer, and that is Wesley. Bo Brinkley is the answer. Long snapper Bo Brinkley. Because we know Bo Brinkley's rated a 35 overall on Madden, but Bo Brinkley has never made a bad snap in his entire Titans career.
Well, there goes that streak. You just jinxed him.
I've said it before. But Bo Brinkley, that's a good answer there too. Brent says based on Madden rating, I'd say Dennis Kelly. Joshua says David Long Jr., most underrated player on the roster. That's interesting. So Khalif Raymond from Matthew, another Kenny Vaccaro vote, another Daquan Jones vote. Juan says Kevin Byard, and Brad says Brett Kern, only thought of when needed. My answer, Zach, is Brett Kern. Brett Kern will always be underrated because you know what?
No, he wins a Pro Bowl. That means that he's rated.
But he gets
That's
screwed.
Wrong. You screwed this.
No, I did not. Brett Kern is always underrated. Shane Leckler got the all-decade team for the punter in the AFC. That should not have gone to Shane Leckler. Brett Kern has way better numbers. He's played every single year in the decade, and he's been phenomenal and a pure weapon for the Tennessee Titans. When you look at the Patriots playoff win, we were like, my lasting image from that game is Logan Ryan pick six, walking into the end zone to put it on ice 20-13. But why did the Patriots have the ball on the 1 yard line? It's because Brett Kern just, didn't pitching wedge, drive it down there and put it on the 1 yard line like a stud in a highly impactful moment. Brett Kern delivered. I was actually listening to the Titans-Ravens playoff game on the radio over the weekend. And early in that game, Brett Kern had a punt that got down inside the 2. But Dane Cruikshank stepped out of bounds and then touched the football. So it came back out to the 20. So Brett Kern got screwed out of that one too. Brett Kern is the most underrated player on the Titans team.
I think that he is underrated. I'm not arguing that. The most, right? That's the key word, most.
Yes.
People know who Brett Kern is. Like outside of the Titans lure, right? If you asked a guy who Brett Kern is, they'd be like, man, that's a punter, right? They would get that. Here's when I created this question at the beginning, pre-show, I have initial thoughts, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or, you know how when you say first, when I say sprinkler system, what's the first word that pops in your mind?
Little black things that pop out of the grass.
That's more than one word, but so here
you said thing, but that's okay.
Here is what the first player that popped in my mind when we said underrated, Jayon Brown. If I asked anybody outside of the fans of the Tennessee Titans, hey, do you know who Jayon Brown is? They would say Jayon who?
They'd be
no
like
idea.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason Brown. Brown. Antonio?
Jalen?
Yeah, not Jayon. Jayon Brown is the most underrated player on the Tennessee Titans, and Titans fans know as a 5th-round pick the impact that he has made and look, they drafted Rashaan Evans in the 1st round. He came in and he essentially, he beat out Wesley Woodyard and stole all of his playing time. And I know Wesley Woodyard older, and we love Wesley Woodyard. He's one of our favorite players, great guy to talk to, leader in the locker room
after football.
But Jayon Brown, okay, nobody knows who that is outside of the Titans fan base. And he impacts the game tremendously. And
sure.
I'm a Jayon Brown fan, always have been. And he has 2 touchdowns in his career, 2 forced fumbles, tackles out the wazoo, sacks. Like, this guy is a stellar player, and nobody knows who he is. That, I think, defines underrated, and that was the first guy that popped in my head, and that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, Rashad says Jayon needs national attention, and you can say that, and that's what Brian initially said. Is there's a lot, because I think Daquan Jones is another really good answer, because Daquan Jones does dirty work.
Well, there's a lot more. So here it is. There's a lot more underrated Titans because nobody overrates Titans.
Correct.
Nobody says like it takes everything to get them to say Derrick Henry is a really good running back.
Now, Lucas brings this up. He says he missed the playoffs, as in Jayon Brown, because he got hurt his shoulder against the Patriots. He was out against the Ravens and the Chiefs. And so that's going back to kind of our question about Jonnu Smith or Jayon Brown. If you can only sign one, who would it be? Where I was signing with Jonnu Smith, because I think it's harder to replace Jonnu Smith compared to Jayon Brown because of what David Long showed you in high pressure situations from a 6th-round pick rookie in the playoffs against Lamar Jackson, the Ravens.
The guy played 3 games. Like, come on, dude.
Zach,
that's the smallest sample size of all time. That's the worst argument you make.
But it's not, dude. You're just not understanding
you're referencing 3 freaking games.
The playoff games, Zach. Those are pretty freaking important.
Yes,
if a guy shows up in the playoffs, if a rookie
he didn't play all year.
Right. And he played that well in the playoffs after not playing all year. That means more. That means more to me. I don't understand how that doesn't resonate with you.
No, that's like Brock Osweiler getting a contract, right? We've seen it.
Brock Osweiler didn't play well in the playoffs.
We've seen it before. He played well enough to get a freaking contract. Matt Schaub played well enough to get you have to have a multiple sample size more than
Zach, my point, like, understand it before you get your panties in a wad. My entire point is it's easier to find a Jayon Brown late in the draft who can produce, because the Titans have done it with Avery Williamson. Let him walk, replace him with Jayon, and now they have a guy on the roster in David Long Jr. who looks like he could be a replacement for Jayon Brown.
How many games have David Long Jr. played?
3 playoff games. And he's performed
all in his career?
No, he's played more on special teams and in spot duty. But like the point is that Jonnu Smith's replacement is not on the roster, and Jayon Brown's potential replacement is, and has already shown you some really good value as a cheap late round draft pick. That's my point.
And I cannot get on board with putting your chips in on a player like that to replace a player like Jayon Brown when you've only seen 3 games from him.
Lewis says David Long Jr. caused the fumble against the Chiefs on that.
I understand what he did.
David Long Jr. made one of the 4th and 1 stops on Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, in that playoff game.
And Jerry 41 says Zach's logic, we shouldn't have played Tannehill. It's not about that. It's about replacing a guy that has already played very, very well.
And Cody says David Long Jr. is no Jayon Brown. I'm not saying that he is now. Like, does he have I don't know what David Long's potential might be. I don't know what it is. But I'm not saying that he is Jayon Brown right now. I'm just saying when it comes to second contracts who are expensive, the drop-off from Jayon Brown to David Long Jr. is not like the drop-off from Jonnu Smith to the other every down tight end. Like, Michael Pruitt and Anthony Ferkser play their specific roles very well. The Titans do not want Ferkser and Pruitt to play Jonnu Smith's role because they can't do it on their own. So the drop off from Jonnu Smith to the other tight ends on the roster is more drastic than the drop off from Jayon Brown to David Long Jr. That's the point that I'm talking about.
And my thing is I think in today's age, you look at what Jonnu has done in his career, injury riddled at times. I get it. And back up to because Delaney, but when he got opportunity, he's made some big chunk plays, but overall, he doesn't flash. You can go out and you talk about going to find a guy. You can find a tight end at that position in this day and age just because of what the position has evolved into.
Tom
that's
goes,
the least of my worries.
Tom goes all caps. He goes, Ferkser Austin, Jonnu's replacement is on the roster. Dude, Tom, they do not ask Anthony Ferkser to do half of what they ask Jonnu Smith.
That's kind of like the David Long Jr. argument that you're making.
No, they play the same position. Like David Long and Jayon Brown play the same position and play the same role. We literally saw it
Ferkser's a
in
tight
the
end.
playoffs. No, but a tight end compared to an inside linebacker, there's more aspects. They put Anthony Ferkser more in the
That's the argument
slot.
you're making.
Zach,
Literally.
stop talking. They put Anthony Ferkser more in the slot than they do lined up next to a tackle. And that's the truth. Jonnu Smith can do the tackle. He can do the slot. He can play an H-back. Anthony Ferkser can't do that. He's not that type of athlete. Anthony Ferkser does have value in a role with the Titans that he plays pretty damn well. But he can't play that Jonnu Smith role by himself. He can't. He's just not built for that. That's not a bad take. No, it's not. It's not a bad take. That's a good football take. It's a good football take.
Well, let's go to overrated because we'll just move on from that conversation. Most overrated Titan. I have my same thought that, and we want your opinion here on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Who's the most overrated Titan on the team, on the current roster?
Yeah,
because I did struggle with this. I found the two guys that I'm torn between.
All right. Well, I need more time to think. To be honest, I need more time to think about.
You need more than like 3 games.
No, I just need a few minutes to gather thoughts. All right, Zach. Who is the most overrated Titan on the current roster? Because Brent says no show Beasley. Let's take off Vic Beasley as a potential answer for this question.
This is hard. No, it's a hard question.
Okay, let's reframe it. Who's the most overrated Titans player who has actually shown up this fall?
Yeah, fair. But this is a tough question, and as we said, because overrated and underrated is in the eye of the beholder, right? So when you're overrated, you are rated higher than what your true value is in one's opinion. Problem is, not a lot of people or the outside analysts rate the Titans really, really high.
Yeah.
So this is why it's hard. This is a hard one.
All right, Zach. So tell the people about the Tucker Agency so I have more time to get my thoughts together.
Yeah. So Tucker Agency, they're perfectly rated. They're number 1, baby. Nashville's independent insurance agency, and they're here to help you save money. TuckerTN.com is their website, but more importantly, how do you get a hold of them is you email the head honcho himself, Will Tucker, and his team. He created this insurance agency to give back and help you guys. And to email him, it's that simple of will@TuckerTN.com. That's will@TuckerTN.com. Write an email, say, hey, Will, heard about you on A to Z Sports. How can I save some money? He'll look at your policy. His team will put together a better policy that saves you money. When you do email will@TuckerTN.com, the average customer saves 20%. That you don't even know what you pay for your insurance, I bet. If I asked you, I told you, no, you don't.
I had to go through my email and dig to find it.
So save money, take a look at it, and see if Tucker TN can help you. That's will@TuckerTN.com. Email him today.
All right, I do know this. AZ30 gets you 30% off of anything at shop.atozsportsnashville.com. So hit that promo code AZ30 at shop.atozsportsnashville.com for any of our gear. Hats are great. Everything's great, really. So the most overrated Titans player on the current roster in the building right now, because we're going to eliminate Vic Beasley as a potential answer from this question, I think, which is fair. Big detail. says Malcolm Butler, if anyone, just due to contract. And I thought Malcolm Butler would be a popular answer on this, and he has been. Cody says Harold Landry, unfortunately. Lisa says Lawan, but not in a bad way, LOL. Juan. Zach, you ready? Juan says A.J. Brown. Talk to me after his second year. You want some time?
No one thinks that.
No one or no one?
No one thinks that. A.J. Brown, that is overrated. Are you kidding me? The guy, he's not rated. Like, he's not even in the top 100 because that is a hack list.
Yeah.
But that's ridiculous. So no one thinks that, and I'm not even going to address that comment.
Okay. Well, you already did. David says 17. There's a lot of Tannehill. Overrated from Dom? Tough to say. It's got to be Tannehill. There's another Lawan. Louis says Jonnu Smith. Probably
it's interesting because he is rated, right? Like he is known in the circuit, and with what let's just call a spade a spade. And Lawan, I think, would admit to this, even though I don't know, it'd probably be tough to admit to this. But what happened to Lawan? Lawan was rolling right along. He got his big ass contract at the time, highest paid NFL offensive lineman. And then what did he do? He went, whether he meant to do it or didn't, that is also in the eye of the beholder. But the NFL tested him. He failed. He tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and they suspended him for the first 4 games. That, you got to be smart if you're rated that high. That was a dumb move, right? And he would have probably admit to that. When he did return, him and Roger Saffold, the other big signing prior to the year that was supposed to be the left side, strong side, was not that strong right out of the gates. They had some learning to do, some feeling out. On top of that, he had some dumbass penalties that he admitted after the game in the locker room, saying, it's on me. I can't make those stupid mistakes. Now, granted, got to tell the full story. I do think that him and Roger Saffold turned a corner with their relationship, and that line got better.
Oh, they were mauling people late in the season in the playoffs. Mauling people.
I do think that Lawan stopped having boneheaded penalties, and he kind of straightened up and became, late in the season, the Pro Bowl tackle and the correctly rated tackle that we know him to be. But that's a lot that just happened.
Yeah, there's a lot to the story with Lawan. I don't think Lawan's the most overrated Titans player. I don't. I think he's a top 5.
He was not one of the 2 guys that came to my mind.
Okay, so can I guess your 2?
Yeah, I think you'll get one of them. I would be surprised if you get both. Maybe you will.
My first guess, I think I'm more confident in getting this one right, is Adam Humphries.
That is correct.
One for one.
That I didn't think you were going to get.
Oh, that's the one that I got. My next one, I want to say the second is Ryan Tannehill.
No, it is not Ryan Tannehill. I did think about him, but it was after the first 2 thoughts. It's Malcolm Butler, because you base the rating on where he came from in New England, where he played very, very well. And I think he's had some good games or spurts, but he's also gotten roasted, toasted, crisped, and fried in the secondary. And we saw that really in the first half of his contract season when he came
first year. But that's the unfortunate things with defensive backs and corners is it.
You don't get roasted like he did, though.
Well, the first 7 games were just abysmal from Malcolm Butler. The second half of the year in 2018 was pretty good. And then before he got hurt in 2019, he was really damn good. Like, Malcolm Butler was on the verge of having a all-out great season in 2019 before he broke his wrist. So Malcolm Butler gets paid a lot of money.
And that's both of mine. The reason why I said both of mine were Adam Humphries and Malcolm Butler. Like, was Malcolm Butler last year worth $10.5 million?
Well, but he didn't get paid all that because we want an injured reserve. So what was what's $10.5 million, divided by 16, and then you time that game check by 10, I think is what he got. So, and then there's math to be done there. He didn't make all of that money because of the injury.
Is he going into this year, Austin, worth $11 million?
I mean, yes, I think that's what you have to pay for high rate corners. And Malcolm Butler was playing like a high rate corner before he broke his wrist in Carolina. And the nature of the position is you're going to get beat because everybody expects their quarterback to throw for 70% completion percentage, which doesn't give good odds for the corner for the DBs.
So I also go with the concept of the outside perception of Malcolm Butler, that he is this guy. And I want to be wild. If you're going to sign a $61 million contract, I want you to be the second coming of Revis Island. I want you to be the shutdown guy that they're paying you to be. And look, it's a hard ask. I'm not saying that like that's easy to do. That's very, very difficult to do. But $61 million, very expensive.
Well,
and it goes to my Adam Humphries thing.
Right.
I don't
Titans
think
for
he
life.
earned his $9 million.
Well, and I'll get to that in a second. Titans for life says, come on, Austin. When another team signed Butler now for $11 million. No, because Malcolm Butler's now like 3 years older than he was when he signed the big deal. Like, part of the big money contract is the age you are when you sign it and what you did on your first contract, which Malcolm Butler earned that money. But like 3 years later, no, of course not, because you don't have the value of the being 25 or 26 years old when you get a big deal. Like, so that's not how that works, Titans for life.
He wasn't worth $10 million after his first year of his contract either.
Dude, he fixed it in the second half of that first season.
It wasn't $10 million worth of fixing.
Look, just like you told the Taylor Lewan story, I think it's only fair to Malcolm Butler to tell his full story. That with Lewan, he had to knock off some rust and get to know Roger Saffold better when he came off his suspension. Malcolm Butler admittedly said he put way too much pressure on himself and he pressed and he gunned for interceptions, which lost his eye discipline buzzword, drink. And then once he fixed that, he got back to it. And he ever since like the halfway point of 2018, the games that Malcolm Butler played in, he's played well. Has he given up touchdowns? Yes, because that's what happens to cornerbacks who play 90 to 100% of the snaps.
Yeah, and big detail brings a pretty good point. Look, Butler is not Revis, and Revis is an all-time corner. I mean, he had his own.
Yeah, you're asking a guy to be a Hall of Famer,
but he's also Alteron Werner was window dressing. That's all he was. And he got paid for one season that he benefited being in the right place at the right time. And Jason McCourty at the time was playing really, really good.
Well, Alteron Werner is a limited cover 2 underneath corner. Malcolm Butler is a man corner. Now, Malcolm Butler's aggressive and is better at playing at the line of scrimmage, but Alteron Werner is a smart. He graduated from UCLA in 3 years, like a physics degree. And so he was smart at playing zone because he could read and react and make plays, which is what he did. But those type of players are limited athletically, so that doesn't make sense for Werner to get such a big deal. And that's why he's playing down.
My expectation is when you sign a guy, and look, Adam Humphries is tough because injury happens in football, and he was haggled by injury last season. And the majority of his time was being thrown to by Marcus Mariota.
Right. And that
sucks.
The two guys that you brought up for the most overrated player on the Titans roster right now, besides Vic Beasley, both dealt with significant injuries that had them lose a lot of time last year.
Reasons or excuses, I get it. I understand.
Injury, but they're like actual injuries. Like Adam Humphries missed like 6 games, and including a couple
broke his freaking wrist.
Yes, right. And the Titans hurt for the Butler. So like the Titans were worse. Definitely worse without Malcolm Butler in the secondary for a lot of that, which put a lot of pressure on Logan Ryan because he was playing in a secondary with cornerbacks Tremaine Brock and Ty Smith. Nothing against those guys, but they're just lesser players.
Yeah, and so this is a hard question to call out who's overrated. And those are the two guys that I came up with.
And OG says premium positions work that way. You overpay solid cornerbacks unless you drafted them.
I know, but
yes,
I'm a general manager, and this is the expectation, right? If I'm paying you, if I pay an employee, I expect them to work, right? Work hard, work the best. If I pay a guy $61 million in contract, I expect him to play the best damn football of his life. And Malcolm Butler, at least out of the gate, did not do that.
He followed it up by changing.
And he got better. He improved. I'm not discrediting that, but I just think as far as the rating, I would say that Malcolm Butler is overrated for his contract overall. And I think Adam Humphries, I think he was rated, and I know a lot about Adam Humphries because I've watched every single solitary play that he's played in his professional career. So Adam Humphries, I understand him. He benefited off of the free agent market at the time for wide receivers, and he benefited off of being in a prolific offense, Jameis Winston throwing the ball so many damn times under Dirk Cutter's offense, and having Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, Chris Godwin to be distractions and having those option routes over the middle. And you're going to catch some balls when your quarterback throws 54 times a game.
True. And your production is not going to look near what it was, and your value is not going to look like the Titans are getting it when just the volume isn't there for Adam Humphries. Because look, we're complaining about A.J. Brown not getting the ball enough. A.J. Brown only caught like 52 passes. It's not that much. And remember,
yards. That's
right. But that's a lot. No, that's great. That's great bang for your buck, literally. Adam Humphries, we forget, Adam Humphries was leading the Titans in receptions at the time that he got hurt. And then he missed 5.5 games after that injury, which that's where A.J. Brown started to what? Explode.
And that's because Mariota blows.
Well, but remember, who did Tannehill toss the game-winning touchdown to in Week 10 right before the bye week against the Chiefs? Adam Humphries. Big play right there.
And the names Jeffrey brings up a good question. Overrated or overpaid?
Two different conversations, but they kind of go
conversations. But if you are overpaid, you're probably rated pretty high because you got the contract, right?
Yeah, they go hand in hand, but they're not
how I justified it. It's a good question. Because 2 different words, 2 different terms, but that's kind of how I had to mix them together.
Well, Nick on YouTube brings up a guy we haven't mentioned is Corey Davis.
Well, he's not rated high,
but he was drafted high.
But that was what.
But that's kind of like that. But that's also like that's the comparison of what are you being paid? So you were rated high because at one point, because he was a top 5 draft pick. So Corey Davis could be very appropriate for this conversation.
Yeah, and look, everybody getting their panties in a wad by me saying like Mariota blows.
That's not panties in a wad, Zach. That's him laughing because you're so.
No. Well, we've got some other one, but like, whoa, Mariota did let us down, but certainly didn't blow. Come on, he was 2-4, couldn't win a game to save his life at the beginning of the season. He was in his own head. He didn't play Week 17 against the Colts. There was a lot of things that made Mariota not a part of this team. The Titans gave him every opportunity to be the franchise quarterback and earn a $100 million contract, and he blew that away. Mariota, look, he's not that good, and I think he was rated a lot higher on his Heisman Trophy campaign at Oregon. Yes, he took a team to the playoffs and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I recognize that. He put his team in a position to win a lot. But he also laid a bunch of eggs along the way. And those are the straight facts, homie. I don't have any love towards Mariota or connection, so I just call it like I see it. And Mariota, at the end of the day, not a very good quarterback. You talk about overrated, I would say that Titans fans, they overrate Marcus Mariota too much.
For that reason, I think Corey Davis, because Brent brings up most overrated based on draft positions, definitely Corey Davis.
Yes, there's no question about that. Well, it would have been Mariota, but now it's Corey Davis.
Not on the current roster. A to Z Sports here live on.
Who's your guy?
I part of me wants to go just because of the amount of money that he's making and the situation, Ryan Tannehill, just because. But I feel like people nationally aren't rating him very high.
Well, so it's situationally.
Yeah,
right?
then that's why
I couldn't oust him because the Titans' backs were against the wall, and they had to make a decision.
No, it's not. Just because I say that Tannehill might be the most overrated player on the team doesn't mean he's the right quarterback that they signed or that it was the right decision to go with him last year. No, all that stuff was right. They handled it the correct way, but we have to find out. We need the follow-up year from Tannehill, and everybody's watching for that. Everybody who's paying attention to the Titans want to see how Tannehill and Henry follow up what they did last year. And so that's just –
I got a quick question before we move on to the Magic Bucket. And because, look, this is not going to be the last time we talk about Mariota, but is an opportunity to give a hypothetical how will you view Marcus Mariota if his backup quarterback career from now until the end of his career turns into like Chase Daniels or Matt Moore, like spot duty guy, like one of the McCowns.
Yeah, but you have to think about like who is a high drafted quarterback but Blake Bortles is currently not on a roster. So yeah, because like Daniels and Chase Daniel and Matt Moore and those guys were not high draft picks. So they're lasting. The McCowns weren't. There was one McCown, I forget which one, was a first round draft pick like 25 years ago, and he's still playing. Josh was the first round draft pick.
Who he was drafted by?
The Bucks?
No, the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, well, I just thought it would be the Bucks because I don't know why.
He played for the Bucks.
Yeah, I knew that. He played for basically everybody. But it's hard to – I don't know how to judge Marcus Mariota. I think he'll last.
Blaine
Gabbert's a good one. And Blaine Gabbert –
I'll give you credit because
Derek, good comment there. Blaine Gabbert was, I believe, he's a 12th overall pick, something like that. And by the Jags and didn't do anything as a rookie contract guy and then had to go on and do other things.
No, Titans fan for Titans for life. Pick your wedgie, bro. Honestly, Zach, can we move on from Mariota? We elevate Tannehill by bashing Mariota, which is foolish. No, you're understanding history so you can prepare for the future. I mean, come on, bro. That's okay. It's okay to talk about Vince Young and Jake Locker in his deer stand and Mac 9 in the past and understand the expectations of what you want from your football team now and what your general manager and head coach and all of the front office, including ownership, is doing to put them in a position to attain a Vince Lombardi trophy.
Real quick, do you know the career earnings for Chase Daniel? You can just give.
Did he play?
He's 11 years, so 11 years.
I'm gonna say
on the field,
$38 million.
34.3.
Damn, I gave him 4, but I calculated you got to do backup quarterback salary because that's where he's made most of his money, and those contracts are $2-3 million.
I don't even know if he's played in 30 preseason games. I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
Refilling, and if you watch the show, I bring it up quite a bit because it's a reminder. It says Zach hates Marcus solely for week 17. I don't hate him solely for that, and I don't hate Marcus Mariota. He's a nice guy, but I think a lot of times nice guys finish last, and he's a backup quarterback now. So here's the reason why. It's like Vic Beasley is a great scenario, right? It's going to be hard for that trust to be earned back. If you ask a girl out on a date and she stands you up, hard to get the trust back. That was a huge opportunity for Marcus Mariota to show that he is team first and he'll lay it on the line because the Titans on Wednesday thought he was going to play and expected him to play, and he didn't. So that trust was never earned back from that point in time. That's my point.
Roy says Carr is a top 8 QB, if not better. Ew. Maybe in the AFC West. Top 8 quarterback in the AFC West. I'll give you that. All right, A to Z Sports. Let's move on to the Magic Bucket. We've got the Magic Bucket here, and it's going to be a doozy because it's loaded. All right, so let's get it going. Oh, Roy just says, I wanted Derek Carr in 2014.
Roy's had some
Roy's had a bad show. Roy's had a bad show. Just wanting to say that. All right, A to Z Sports.
We love you, Roy, but today just wasn't your day.
Yeah, you just, chalk it up as a loss. Maybe take a couple days off, and we'll see on Monday.
Dude, grind harder.
Yeah, be better tomorrow. You have another opportunity. All right. But first, before the Magic Bucket, let me tell you about Renters Warehouse. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. RentersWarehouse.com. They can help you in so many different ways during this pandemic. They can make life so much easier for you, help you create an extra cash flow. If you own property, don't try to manage it yourself. You're just getting yourself in to a lot of work. Make your money go further with RentersWarehouse.com. That's where to go.
A to Z Sports. It is the ever dangerous Magic Bucket. And Austin, I just want to say, so we're going to be on location tomorrow, correct?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
So we're on location tomorrow, live and in person. And there are a handful of these Magic Bucket selections that involve tomorrow's show.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one, so we can prepare to do stupid
And
things.
some of them are brutal. Like there's one in there that like you don't want. And
There's a lot in there that I don't want. That's the thing.
So last time I went first. So you go first because you had to FaceTime your friends.
Yes, and I got that. So by the way, the Magic Bucket is now brought to you by BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. In a post-coronavirus economy, guests and staff are more concerned more now than ever about providing a safe work environment. BioPure Music City is where to go. Make sure you check their phone number, 615-635-0555 for the Magic Bucket.
Don't pull yet.
Oh,
don't pull yet.
that's right.
Friend.
Sorry. We got the sticker. Sorry, I almost jumped the gun there.
This will be put hopefully on the bucket next week. This is for Buck Rising. I actually bought this the day he got coronavirus. And I hope that it doesn't end up
That's quick shipping.
biting me in the ass. Well, I ordered 5 stickers and they were going to take 10 days. So I had to earn, look, again, I am not going to get caught on a Thursday without a sticker. I'm not going to be booed. Okay. This is the sticker that I selected for the coronavirus. And this is for Mayor Cooper of Nashville. This is
And Buck, this is a dual purpose sticker.
Yeah, more for Mayor Cooper of Nashville, that guy, that hack mayor. I don't know if you can read that.
No, I can't.
It says, but did you die? Question mark. But did you die, right? Because I think, this is my personal opinion, everybody's entitled to theirs, we need to be looking at the less than 1% death rate instead of closing down all of our businesses around Nashville and like destroying them and then taxing the hell out of our community here in the next several years.
All right, so there you go. BioPure Music City Magic Bucket. Let's go. All right, I'm pulling a new one because I pulled one, didn't look at it, and had to put it back in. Can you guys hear all the stuff in there? It's great. Okay, got one. This is for me, right? Oh, wow. I pulled the same thing I did last week, the FaceTime thing.
That's out of like 40.
That's crazy. The odds on that happening, insanely low. All right. This is bigger, sheet of paper. Okay. This is a viewer submitted Magic Bucket, and this is for tomorrow's show. So I got to come prepared for tomorrow's show.
This is you.
This is me, for me. Do the cinnamon challenge on the show the next day. So the cinnamon challenge, if you don't know, is taking a spoonful of cinnamon and being able to swallow that spoonful of cinnamon within like a minute without like coughing and hacking and choking and gross stuff happening. The cinnamon challenge.
I've got to do official cinnamon challenge rules.
Yes,
you can. This was a trend way back.
Yes, several years ago, back in college, when I was in college at least.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, so you are correct. It's a viral internet food challenge. The objective of the challenge is to fill oneself eating a spoonful of ground cinnamon in under 60 seconds without drinking anything.
Yes.
Then upload it to the internet. Well, we live on the internet, so we don't have to.
We're live. We'll do it live.
So that'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be very entertaining.
Do that to start the show tomorrow.
So out of the gates, tomorrow's show, cinnamon challenge, me versus the spoon in the cinnamon. Okay, so this is now for Zach. BioPure, by the way, don't forget, A to Z Sports, our BioPure Music City Magic Bucket, brought to you by these guys, changing the standard of clean, 615-635-0555. You need this protection. Electrostatic can help you out, technology with their spraying, hospital-grade disinfectant services for your home and your business.
This is great. Buck needs to use BioPure after the dust settles from his Rona.
Oh my God. Tomorrow's show is going to be amazing.
I think I got the one I didn't want to get.
No, you do not know what you just got, because this is also a viewer submitted.
God dang it.
A viewer submitted, and you're going to have to get creative on this one. Zach, for tomorrow's show. So we're going to see you more than just shoulders up. Elizabeth George, thank you very much. Zach, you have to dress up as Elton John for tomorrow's show.
Elton John.
Yes.
Ooh.
So Zach has to be Elton John on tomorrow's show, and I have to do the cinnamon challenge at the very beginning. This is going to be one hell of a on-location show.
Wow. Crocodile rocking all morning long.
I don't know what you're going to do. I have no idea what this can go many different ways, because I recently had to do the Florida Georgia line dress up. You've done the Jimmy Buffett parrot head dress up. Oh man.
Now the clock is spinning.
You're going to be Rocket Man, as John Michael Presley. Our Violence says flamboyant as hell.
I got to go flamboyant. And then I got to
glasses are, and this Joe Dan says the most epic magic bucket draw because it's for tomorrow's show.
And the funny thing is I previewed that and we had no idea what we were going to pick. I just had a feeling that we were going to get screwed tomorrow.
Mookie says glasses are key. Crazy glasses, red hair, sequins, sparkles, crazy sunglasses. Would you like wearing sunglasses? And we're going to be outside.
The weather.
I haven't looked at the weather. The plan is for us to be outside tomorrow. And I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but damn it, we're getting robbed of training camp right now, and the weather in the morning is beautiful. So it's not even that hot outside during August. Yeah. I
need to check the weather real quick because I hope we're outside.
You check the weather real quick, and I'm going to answer
We're fine.
All right, good. Big Detail says, where do I make a Magic Bucket submission? So you have to DM us. Don't comment your Magic Bucket submission on the show because it's too hard to find. But DM us, and you've got 3 ways to do it. You can DM us on Facebook, you can DM us on Twitter, and also on Instagram. So send us a DM with your Magic Bucket suggestion, and I've got a list of viewer submitted ones that I add in. So Elizabeth and Tress,
props to Elizabeth. This was a good submission. Unique, creative,
earrings.
Cover user.
You gonna go earrings?
I have. I'll tell you the story maybe tomorrow about how I had an earring at one point. And then after I got the earring, I almost died.
Oh, good. Did you die?
No, I did not die. I didn't die. I survived. I've died. I've come close to death in my personal opinion. 3 times. 3 times I've come close to death.
Maybe that's an end-of-show topic for like next week or something about Zach and his 3 times he almost died.
Have you never thought that you've almost and I'm talking about extreme thought of, oh my God, am I going to perish? Or I've set myself up in such a bad situation, I should have died.
No.
1 is not suitable for work. 1 is, 2 of them are, 1's not suitable for work.
So you can give us 2 of them on the show next week.
One of them, the ones that's not suitable for work is probably, when I think of the dumbest thing that I've ever done in my life.
This is it.
Yeah, because if something would have happened, there was 0% chance of survival. 0. Dead. No A to Z sports.
All right. Well, then we'll just save that for next week because tomorrow is good news. Tomorrow is me doing the cinnamon challenge, thanks to Tress, and you dressing up as Elton John, thanks to Elizabeth George. And we're going to be on location, and we've got good news, and maybe we'll have SEC news. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping on too. And we'll find out if Vic Beasley opts out or not. That's the big thing.
Yeah. So here's the big one. But did you die?
No.
That one's for Mayor Cooper.
We have a follow-up question about the situation where you thought you were going to die, but I'm going to save it for later.
And it wasn't alcohol poisoning. It did have to do with alcohol.
It was alcohol was involved.
It was stupid.
All right, guys, have a great Thursday. Look, we have gone almost 90 minutes today. I don't know why or how, but we even cut out a topic. We've still got a topic about how fans are going to get screwed another time by coronavirus that we didn't even do.
I know. And the Preds need to win
tomorrow. Absolutely. All right, guys. Yeah, great show today, says Big Detail. I agree. Great show today. We'll see you guys later on. Thanks for watching. Have a good Thursday.